What's up, everyone? This week I have Eddie Burgos, aka Eddy Numbskull, who is probably the most prolific promoter for punk and hardcore shows in the Ventura County area, in my lifetime at least. And he promoted shows, and still promotes shows, in the whole range from like San Luis Obispo down to Orange County and out to like the high desert. But yeah, he was like the main dude that was putting on shows like when I was a teenager at like the Living Room and a lot of the shows in like the Ventura County area. So really cool to have him on. Again, a different perspective, and he's an old school Nardcore guy. Played bass in the band Habeas Corpus. It was on like the Nardcore comp, and yeah, super cool to have him on. So that's pretty awesome. And if you would like to support the podcast, please like, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts. Please share with your friends on social media, or give them the old-fashioned phone call and just say, did you know there's this hardcore podcast like focusing on California? It's called 185 Miles South, and I fucking love it. You know, let them know, because we need everyone on board. If you'd like to go the extra mile, please go to patreon.com/185 miles south. Become a Patreon, a monthly contributor to the show. I'm trying to do as many episodes as I can for the patrons. And yeah, you can donate $1 a month and get behind that paywall and check it out. And if you can help out a little more, that is much appreciated. These are the people that keep the show going, and my personal heroes. Now let's get on with the show.
"185 Miles South", a hardcore punk rock podcast.
All right, this week on the pod, we have Eddie Burgos, a.k.a. Eddy Numbskull, the most successful promoter in this area in my lifetime, right, of punk rock.
Well, it depends on how you define success, but yeah, we've been around for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, well, you predate me, and you basically brought all our favorite bands to town, or the adjacent cities, like the Living Room and so forth, for a long, long time, and still doing it. So I can't think of anyone else. Yeah,
this July will be our 31st anniversary.
Jesus Christ.
It's fucking insane, dude.
Okay, so let's go all the way back, and we're going to work our way up to that. So what year and how old were you when you got into punk?
Oh, that's a pretty loaded question. But I can specifically remember the first piece of punk music that I got.
Okay.
Because I had an X-Acto knife, and I didn't have a lot of money growing up, so I used to go to the local Kmart.
Okay. And
you know that they have cassettes, but they'd have like those big anti-security boxes that were...
Sure.
They had the security strip on there.
Okay.
I would go in there with an X-Acto knife and just cut them out.
Okay.
And the first punk one that I actually stole was the Clash London Calling.
Okay.
So that was probably late 79, early 80.
And was it the cover? Had you already heard of them? Or
no.
Did you just like YOLO it because of the cover?
Because of the cover, yeah. I mean, smashing the bass. And,
yeah.
Well, this looks really cool. So I got that, and that kind of opened the door to like Devo and Blondie and a bunch of new wave stuff. Mm-hmm. There's a place called the Music Galley in Camarillo.
Okay.
And there was an older gentleman there that kind of had the full-on like record store clerk, not like superiority complex, but he was all about helping the kids out and like introducing new shit.
If you like this, you might like this.
Exactly, yeah. So I told him about, hey man, I got this Clash cassette, and what else can I listen to? And then at that point, he pointed me in the direction of some more hardcore stuff, like Black Flag, Jealous Again, and then Circle Jerks, a lot of Frontier stuff, TSOL. And this is 81, so I bought all those, and those were a total game changer. But the real game changer is when I got the Let Them Eat Jelly Beans comp.
Yeah.
And then it was on.
Yeah. Because the palette on that is huge.
Absolutely.
It's all over.
And it was so weird to have. I mean, I'm just 11 or 12 at this point.
Okay.
Like 6th or 7th grade.
Okay.
And to hear music that actually represented how you felt, that was really, really impactful at that time.
Yeah. Were you into any music before punk rock came across? Were you always like drawn to it? Or was that like the first time you really connected to something?
No, I mean, my parents are really into music. Obviously, all the British Invasion stuff, the Rolling Stones, Beatles, Kinks, The Who. And then they kind of raised me on like outlaw vintage country.
Okay.
So all that stuff, like Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, Ernest Tubb, all that stuff. And then my brother was super into disco, so I got into like Earth, Wind, and Fire and all that. And then it morphed into like all the 70s rock stuff. Like
That's very diverse.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
That's a pretty diverse palette, like previous to punk. You're served right up.
Oh, absolutely. But the rock stuff came in after that, like Led Zeppelin, Kiss, Cheap Trick, all that. And then I just kind of graduated.
Yeah, to London Calling, which is
Exactly.
going to smash all barriers and boundaries.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What stood out to you the most on the Let Them Eat Jelly Beans? Like the Bad Brain stuff, or you weren't drawn in by the Flipper song?
No. That was great. Ha 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 is a really good tune. But it was more how impactful the lyrics were.
Okay.
It was really eye opening, like the political stances and some of the themes. So that musically, I mean, it's like the social and political awareness was more eye opening to me at that time than the actual music.
Sure. Well, this is Alternative Tentacles.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And it had the fold out poster, and they had all the names of all the bands. Ill Repute was actually listed in there, and so was Aggression.
Oh.
All these bands. And then so that acted as a template to like dig deeper. Like, wow, what the hell, what's up with all these bands that are listed on the poster? So I could just kind of try to dig as much as I could.
Yeah. Do you remember going to your first punk show?
My first punk show, I mean, loosely, my brother took, I was very fortunate because my brother took me to a lot of like rock concerts, like larger ones. I saw the Pretenders, the Cars, Bow Wow Wow, Joan Jett.
He's how much older than you?
He's 7 years older than me.
Oh,
yeah.
Legit older brother.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And, but the first actual punk concert I went to was The Clash and the English Beat at the Santa Barbara Bowl.
Wow.
And that was in 82.
Okay. And what was that like?
Oh, it was insane. Everything that, they captured everything live that they emasculated on tape.
Okay.
And vinyl.
And was the bowl still set up the same way, like was there seating and then there was like a pit area in the front, or?
It was a little more ragged at the time.
Okay.
Like they had a big renovation in the 90s. So it's basically just bleacher seating, super dilapidated.
Yeah.
Just blue paint peeling off the bleacher seats. There was actually a huge food fight at this show, which I don't know where the kids even got the food, but like, I don't know if they were just
That's the most expensive food fight ever, totally. Right? With the $7 nachos.
At that point, it was probably 75 cents,
okay.
but I think the ticket was like $4.50 or something. Wow. It was super cheap. But the first like real
can we just talk about that a tiny bit more?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you saw the Clash in '82, we got to hear about it. So how was like the crowd reacting to them at that point? Like, just what was it like?
I think there was a little bit of a backlash happening at that point. I wasn't privy to that.
Yeah.
You know, being an 11, 12-year-old kid.
And enjoying everything.
Because, right, they were starting to hit the radio and Rock the Casbah, Know Your Rights.
Yeah.
Should I Stay or Should I Go? We're getting heavy airplay. And so at this point, this show was more or less an underplay because they were already taking off. In fact, the next time they came through, they opened up for The Who.
Holy shit.
At the Coliseum.
Oh, shit.
So it seemed like there was a little bit of heckling going on, which I didn't understand.
Yeah.
But really, like, they fucking
crushed
absolutely
it.
annihilated, yeah.
Yeah.
And English Beat, too. They had Rankin Raj, and they had the whole pit moving, and...
So cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I thought it was punk rock because I went to that show in all camouflage. So I'm all, this looks like a punk rock outfit.
That's cool.
So silly.
And sorry for interrupting you.
No, all good.
But the next show that you were going to talk about.
The next show I went to, that was an actual, like, more or less DIY punk show, was I got a flyer off the telephone pole right outside Carl's Jr.
Okay.
And it was for Battalion of Saints, Angry Samoans at the Casa Tropical.
Okay.
So this was, I think, August 82, maybe.
Okay.
And then I talked to my parents and dropped me off there. They're familiar with the territory. I grew up in Oxnard, so so they were actually cool with dropping me off out in front.
And the location of the Casa Tropical is?
It's on. It's where the Oxnard Airport.
Oh, it's at the airport.
Yeah.
And how many? There weren't that many shows that happened there, were there? Or
Handful.
were there a bunch? Just a handful.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was lucky enough to go to almost all of them, but yeah, maybe 5 or 6. I know Addicts played, Peter and Test Tube Babies, TSOL, Crucifix, Suicidal.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It was a good run, but didn't last very long.
Okay, so you go to the show, and what is this like?
I mean, everybody there was just towering above me.
Yeah.
And I went solo, which was a really
It's a super ballsy move, huh?
super daunting, man. Luckily, there's a couple people that I recognized. With my brother being 7 years older, he went to Wainimi High with Tony and Jim and John Faneff, and he was actually really tight with Carl. He was the president at Blackstock Junior High.
Okay.
And I think Carl may have been on student council too as the treasurer or something.
Okay.
They had some weird tie. So I kind of were somewhat familiar with those guys. Tony would come over to the house. We lived off J Street.
Mm-hmm.
And this was obviously all pre-punk.
Sure.
Like Tony would come over and like these like acid wash Daisy Dukes and play tennis with my brother. It was pretty funny. But so I kind of knew him from that.
Okay.
And they were really, really, really cool about looking after me and kind of just watching over, from afar.
Are the Repute guys, are they the same age as your brother?
Exactly.
So you're 7 years younger.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, dude, when they're 19, I'm 12.
No, I know it's a world of difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I stood out like a sore thumb. I was clearly like the smallest kid in the room. And, but yeah, everybody was just towering, and it seemed really aggressive and just completely eye-opening. Like it was just a total life changer. And like, wow, this is happening right in my own backyard. And
well, Battalion of Saints in 1982, there's not that much better. I mean, they're ripping.
That Fighting Boys EP.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So ripping. Yeah, and then someone got their head kicked in songs, which was 82, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what is the cap at that place? Like 100, 150? And how many people do you think were there?
I want to say it was about 225.
Okay.
And there was probably less than 100 people there.
Okay.
And it seemed like it was all locals because there was a lot of camaraderie. Everybody knew each other.
Yeah. This is like the start like of Nard, right? Because 82 is like the Ill Repute demo. Stalag maybe he's demoing right around then, 82, 83.
Yeah.
Aggression is like the only one that's on record so far.
Right.
Because, the anything pre-Plug-in Jesus doesn't come out till later.
Right.
Except maybe if people are dubbing tapes.
Yeah.
So it's small and there's lots of camaraderie. And then how do you decide to get involved like more than just being like a show goer? Is that when you start your own band?
No. So I grew up in Oxnard, and then from kindergarten to 6th grade. And then my parents decided, I was getting in a lot of trouble. It was just like not a good scene, like getting suspended at school. Back then they had capital punishment. And so I was getting like paddled every day. I went to Bard Elementary.
Okay. They had capital punishment in public school?
Oh yeah, that didn't get nixed until probably like the late 80s, man.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, I remember like hiding in the bathroom, like from the hall monitors because the principal was looking for me because I knew I was going to get tagged that day.
Holy fuck.
I mean, granted, I probably deserved it because I did a lot of things that, that weren't conducive to education.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know if a hall monitor ever needs to hit a child.
That's true. No, the principal does it.
Oh. Fuck, then who would want to be the principal? What kind of psychopath? Jesus Christ. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
But no, it's all good. That was a funny tangent. So we moved to Camarillo because my parents wanted to put us in kind of a safer environment and get me out of trouble, and my sister as well. So I was a little bit detached from what was happening in Oxnard, even though I had those ties with my brother, like going to school with all them.
Sure.
So I was a music fan from afar, but I did not know what was happening. I had no idea that this like bubbling scene of artists was gonna was going to explode.
Sure.
I thought it was just this place that I can go to, and they had these underground shows.
Yeah, of kind of out of town bands coming through, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And again, I was coming from rock world. The only shows I've been to were like, I saw Journey at the Forum or
Places
Cars at Sports Arena.
You're seeing there's chairs.
Exactly. But there's no barrier. I could walk right up to the singer and Sothera from Crucifix. Hey, what's up, man? You're Filipino. I am too. What's up? Like that sort of that whole audience artist barrier was broken, and to me that was just like world changing.
That's what sucks everyone in, right? I mean, like that is the most special thing about punk and hardcore. I think for the people that fall in love with it, I would say is like the barrier being taken away between the band and the audience.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. For sure.
Yeah. So you're in Camarillo.
Yeah, and so I'm in Camarillo, and I wasn't really in touch with all those guys other than at shows. And it was just kind of like a hi-bye. Oh, this is Norm's younger brother. We should probably kind of look after him, And then in 84, Rob Mansour, who lived on Strand, and he was tight with like the Stalag guys because they lived on Strand as well. Mm-hmm. And Big Bob, who lived in Hollywood Beach. Mm-hmm. And he put an ad in Flipside saying he wanted to start a band. Granted, this is a 14-year-old kid.
Awesome.
Okay. And little did he know that a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old kid in Camarillo like read the ad, and we were like kind of making fun of him. I'm like, let's call this guy. He wants to start a band. Kind of just like, and so we called him, just clowning around, and we ended up like connecting, and then we hooked up, and then we found a drummer from James Ribiot, R.I.P. James, who lived on the other side of town in Camarillo, or he went to Rio Mesa High School. Mm-hmm. And then we got together and jammed, and then started Habeas Corpus at that point.
Great band name.
Yeah, thanks.
I mean, were you the first? I mean, that band name is so brilliant that it's like someone had to use it first, right?
I don't know.
No?
There was no way of finding out at that point.
Of course.
I know that a band in South America used it like in the early 90s.
Okay, yeah, later.
Yeah, after we disbanded. But that's
Pinche rateros.
Exactly. CC. But so Rob had ties with Oxnard currently, and I was, like I said, I was a little bit detached living in Camarillo.
Yeah.
And so that kind of brought us all back in to the whole scenario.
So do you start playing shows?
We waited a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, dude, we were not musicians. I'm still not a musician. And we're just like four kids. I was a freshman in high school. Our singer was in 8th grade, Mike Brown. Mm-hmm. And the other two members were also freshmen in high school.
Sure.
And so, yeah, that track on the Nardcore record, Still Be Blind, is us like repping our chops at the time.
Yeah, but it's cool. I mean, you're touching a little bit. You're touching into like some of the dark chord stuff. It's like it's a little spooky, right? Like the intro, and then you come in and it's nice mid-tempo punk.
Yeah.
It's a little choppy, but it's cool.
It was cute. I remember when we were at Mystic and Tony Cortez was actually there.
Yeah, so let's step back.
I'm jumping around, aren't I?
Well,
yeah, sorry.
We're really close, but we should step back and say, how were you courted? Like, did Tony just come up to you one day, or how did he present the idea of this comp to you?
Well, I think Bob, who really took us under his wing. I mean, we owe Aggression a lot as a band and as a scene, as a community. But as far as the Nardcore comp goes, I think he was kind of the catalyst for
choosing you guys,
for getting us on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
They wanted like kind of a more like we wanted some of the youth.
Yeah,
captured.
And you guys are definitely the youngest band.
Yeah. I mean, RKL was a couple years older.
Okay. Yeah, they were super young too.
Yeah, and light years ahead musicianship wise.
Well, of everyone.
Of everyone, yeah.
I mean, of everyone, even the adults in the room.
Yeah.
Except Henry's got his chops.
Yeah.
But other than Henry, RKL's probably smoking everyone.
Oh God, dude, those guys are alien.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you remember how it worked? Like, did someone just tell you, like, okay, we'll show up at Mystic this one day, and you're going to go record one song?
Yeah. So Tony set it up with Rob, our guitarist, and we got in my dad's station wagon, and he drove us to Mystic in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And at that point, we only had 4 songs, and Still You Blind was the one that that was somewhat coherent.
Okay. Yeah.
And so we decided to go with that one.
Yeah. And you record one song.
We recorded that one song.
How long? And what was it like recording at Mystic?
It was raw for sure.
Okay.
I mean, that was my first dive into a studio.
Okay.
So we were pretty wide-eyed.
And you record all of the music live?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then do the vocals after?
Vocals after, yeah.
Yeah.
So we just do the basic track, all of us live, and then... But I remember Tony just looking at me in absolute horror, like, oh my God, this kid, he's not in tune. Looking at me. Okay. And he's such a sweet guy. He was like, it was like a kind of a dad, like, you know, when your kid like fucks up,
sure,
like playing baseball or something, but you don't want to tell him because you don't want to break his spirit. Like Tony had that look on his face. Like,
yeah. Well, because they had just discovered tuners.
yeah, no shit.
Because they didn't have them in 82. So you needed to pass on the knowledge.
Yeah, that's funny.
So you record the song. Are you able to like, is it just to DAT? Or you like, when do you get to hear the song? Like, do they send you home with a tape and you're listening to it in the car and you're like, this is sick? Or do you literally have to wait till the comp comes out?
We heard it in the mixing booth, and then we had no say in the mixing, which we probably shouldn't anyways, you know. And we didn't hear it until we got the actual vinyl in our hand.
How cool is that? And
yeah, it was really cool.
Did Tony just come and pass them out to like the bands? Like, here's a couple for you, a couple for you.
We all got a copy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure who was in charge of distributing that, but we all got a copy of it.
And then how did that feel to be on vinyl for the first time?
Oh man, you're like, at this point, like I said, I'm a freshman in high school. It was life altering. Yeah. It was almost like a total pinch me moment.
Yeah.
It was a pinch me moment just to like be in a studio and even hang out with like the Aggression guys and your repute and
yeah. Well, my story is a little parallel to that because the first band I would have done, It Doesn't Matter. I think I was a sophomore when it came out on the Localism comp. And so it's weird when you get like a piece of vinyl in your hand and it is like, how did my band get on there? Like, what sort of magic did it take? Because you didn't go through all the process of like learning how to do it. Yeah, you know, it's just like, whoa, like how does this thing exist?
That must be really rewarding.
Yeah, yeah. So same type of thing.
Thumbing through the booklet was really special too.
Yeah,
I remember. It's funny because when I don't know if it was Philco or maybe it was Tony, but they asked us to submit some artwork, and I don't know how serious some of the other acts that were on the comp took it, but like we took it kind of serious. So we went to did the cut and pasting at Kinko's. I think Scared Straight took it pretty serious. False Confession did as well. But everybody else just kind of like scribbled lyrics, you know, on the spot. Yeah. And I think Tony had a deadline or something, and then we turned ours in, and then that was that.
Yeah.
I mean,
your page feels special.
Yeah. So looking at that, it's like, wow, like our page is readable.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, you do one other song, though, because you're on the Party Animal comp, too.
Yeah, yeah.
So how did that work? The same thing? Like, you're just contacted, and they're like, come out and record one song?
Yeah, we came out and did that one, and then we came out, we did Last Dream for the Party Animal comp. And that was cool. We kind of a little bit knew how to, didn't know how to play, but kind of know which side to hold our instruments. Yeah. You know, I think I was a lefty and playing righty, too, and that was just silly, too.
That's crazy.
And then I figured out that I could switch and didn't have to restring.
Yeah.
And then we recorded also, it was supposed to be for the EP, the Super 7-inch thing. And that was like early 85.
Okay.
And and then they were going to chop it up and put it into some other different comps, like Copulation 2 or Return to Slimy Valley.
Yeah, all those weird comps that like actually even got Matrix numbers but never came out.
Yeah.
Nardcore 2, Slimy Valley 2, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
But it never happened.
I know, which is so weird that you recorded and they had material and didn't put it out.
Yeah.
You're the only one.
I think there was a holdup with, they had this somewhat of like a makeshift contract.
Okay.
And we were all minors.
Okay.
So signing it, we needed some sort of like adult supervision or some sort of adult authority to represent us. I remember us signing for the comps, but for the actual EP, like we needed something. We needed some sort of representation that was legit.
That's so wild. If that's the reason why it didn't come out, right?
And we signed shit anyways. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, we just did it.
Yeah, and then for all the listeners, that material just came out. It came out a few years ago digitally, right?
Yeah.
Did it come out on CD as well? It just came out digitally?
No, just digitally.
Okay, that's what I thought. And then Joe was saying he thought maybe he saw a CD. So, or he heard maybe there was a CD. So it's digital, and is it easy to find? Can they?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's out there.
Okay, cool. So check that out. What up? But yeah, the output is the song of the Nardcore comp and the Party Animal song. That's fucking rad.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
crazy.
on two like classic Mystic comps. The Party Animal comp is a good comp. The third one, the We Got Party, is the one that's not so hot. The first one's great.
Yeah, the first one's really good. Second one's
Because the first one's curated by someone that's not Mystic.
right.
You know, it's the zine. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. So sometime in this period, you have to start booking shows, right? Because you are gonna book the full Ill Repute tour in '85.
No, so I didn't start handling Ill Repute booking duties till late 80s, early 90s.
So they remembered wrong.
Yeah, they remembered wrong.
Okay. Did you listen to the interview? You're like, no, that wasn't me.
I heard Tony's interview, yeah, and I'm all,
Who do you think booked them in '85?
I have no idea.
Because I was tripping. I was like, so would Eddie have been like 15 and booking Ill Repute on a national tour?
No way.
Yeah.
My relationship to shows at that point was strictly through Big Bob, so he'd put on shows at the Skate Palace.
Okay.
And
In Wainimi.
In Wainimi, exactly, yeah. And Bob was so great at this time. He still is. And at that point, to put a 15, 16-year-old kid like in charge of like flyering or artwork or like checking stamps at the door, like that was really empowering at that moment.
Yeah.
And that he trusted us to do that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would go to Kinko's. I made some flyers. I'd help spread the word, like, you know, the Uniform Choice, Dag Nasty, Butthole Server Show, Wasted Youth. There's a couple other ones. I think just the big Aggression, Ill Repute, Salig show that happened there. I think Habeas played that too.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was really cool that he...
So he's showing you the ropes a little bit of like promoting.
just getting the word out,
Yeah.
more or less.
Yeah.
You know.
And then putting you to work at the door?
Sort of. I mean, there was no math involved. We weren't handling any money at all.
Sure.
It was just kind of like, hey, can you make sure they have a stamp on their hand, or
Yeah.
if they go in and out, things of that nature.
Yeah. What was it like to see Uniform Choice in 1986?
They were pretty strong, man. Yeah. Pat was really in your face.
In my head, that's like the strongest band that ever existed, but I never got to see them. So whatever.
Man, yeah. I mean, they also had the best merch.
Yeah. Yeah. Until Chain of Strength.
True. Those Straight and Alert shirts were
Yes.
really they were so fucking bold, man. You could not miss them from a mile away.
Oh, I know.
You know?
And I love the Dillinger 4 knockoff shirts of that. The D4 music is none of my business.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
good.
That's so too good.
So good. So when do you book your first show?
Okay, so
Should we talk about a habeas corpus? Well, let's talk about a habeas corpus breakup actually first. Why do you guys break up?
Yeah, that's a good question too. Well, basically, just as you know, in '87, I'm sure you've heard stories. That's when the scene kind of
Starts fizzling.
Yeah, fizzling out.
Can I
goes
get your
upside
take
down.
on that? Like, because you've been now going to shows for a few years, but you're younger, and like, what is your perspective on that? Like, what's your opinion? Because yeah, the bands start changing. Like, Dr. No's getting more and more metal. Even Stalig's kind of going.
Yeah.
Stalig went metal, and then Ill Repute kind of stops playing.
Yeah, I mean, I know the exact time. I mean, for me, that it felt like it was over, and this was actually at a show.
Okay.
And at this point, the entire bill kind of metamorphosized into their next chapter.
Okay.
Like 7 Seconds. This was at the Oxnard Community Center in '87.
Okay.
And 7 Seconds headline, and they were doing their kind of U2 transformation.
It's like the Ourselves LP maybe is 87. Trying to think.
I
I
can't.
actually enjoy all that stuff,
I like it too, but
it's a bummer if you're coming off the real
exactly.
shit.
So they were playing that. False Confession played, and they were The Rain, and basically was turned into like the Southern Death Cult, kind of more post-punky, gothy type direction. Habeas played, and we were kind of getting away from like the straight ahead hardcore, not metal, but kind of playing a little more kind of melodic, like angular type stuff. That did not go over well. And then Ill Repute also played the show, and they did their like Tony and John did their
like the separate thing.
No, they did their hip hop side project thing.
Okay, I've never even heard of this, so you gotta lay it out.
Yeah, this is a really small footnote in Nard history, but they had like this kind of like Beastie Boys-y type thing, and you need to bring up with them. I don't even remember the name of it. I think they only had 3 songs.
Okay,
and
so what is the setup? Like, okay, so they're
2
both
turntables and a microphone.
Really? And who's on the turntables? Like, how does that even work?
Rock's Chosen Warriors, apparently.
Rock's Chosen Warriors. Dude, a mind fucking blown right now.
So that entire show represented everybody, like, just entering the next phase of their music chapter.
Yeah. Holy shit. Okay.
But but again, so that was happening. No one was having it. There was a ton of fights.
Jesus Christ.
Like, people were so resistant to change at that time. You either went, the line was drawn. You either go metal or you go into kind of like, you go into metal, like a lot of the bands, like you said, Dr. No and Stalag, or you go into kind of like this alternative rock, like REM, U2, Replacement-y type thing.
Yeah, like college rock kind of.
Yeah. Channel 3 did that. Youth Brigade did that with the Brigade.
Sure.
So there was like, even Bad Religion, they're into the...
Which is earlier. Because they're actually going to come back and break it wide open, right?
Yeah, exactly. They're the ones that came back, broke it open. But yeah, everybody was going in different directions, and then there's just the fights, and it just didn't seem as magical as it used to be.
Do you think that the reason why a lot of the music moved away from punk was in response to the violence?
I don't think so.
No,
I think it was more of just...
it's just you're getting better at your instrument.
And then your musical scope is broadening. Like, you're finding out about other stuff, or you're revisiting stuff you listened to before and that you weren't allowed to listen to.
Yeah, it wasn't cool to like it.
It wasn't cool.
You can admit you like it.
I loved Tom Petty at the time, but I wasn't allowed to like Tom Petty in '82, which is fucking criminal.
That's not
Tom Petty.
That's not a world I want to live in.
Totally.
Yeah. R.I.P. Tom. That's so sad. He's the one that got me. Like, yeah. That was terrible.
Yeah, I was actually in his fan club. I would get like these postcards.
Back then, in '82?
Totally.
Holy shit, that's rad. So when do you book your first show?
So that 87 downturn, basically, I mean, I think you guys referenced it. This is kind of sort of the beginning of the dark years for the Nard.
Yeah, we think it's 87 to 91 now.
Yeah.
But you'll tell us for sure.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I don't know if this is revisionist history or not, but I'll try. My memory's been jarred by 6,000 shows, like literally 6,000 shows.
Sure.
So the dark ages, from a show standpoint, in my opinion, started in the tail end of 87.
Okay.
And 88 going into 89, there really wasn't so much activity. There might have been some bar shows here and there. I took off to go to college, and I left and lived in Utah for a minute, more than a minute.
A couple years,
yeah.
And did you go to shows there?
I did, yeah.
And can you contrast the two?
Yeah, well, first of all, it was weird being the only person of color in the entire state.
Okay.
So that was a little bit odd. And especially coming from Oxnard, because the Oxnard scene was so diverse.
Sure.
I mean, you grew up in the area, like, Absolutely. That we have every walk of life there. So going to Utah and seeing one type of person was a little bit jarring for me at the onstart.
Yeah.
So the shows were cool. They were fun. This is the start of these kind of like straight edge, like hardline guys. Which to me, like, you guys are fucking Mormon, dude. Like, you're not straight edge. You're Mormon.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
You're not rebelling against anything.
No, you're doing what your parents told you to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So whatever. So there's a lot of those dudes.
And Joseph Smith.
Exactly. But they're all nice people. I'm not.
No, I mean, all religion is stupid, and that one is specifically stupid because it's newer. So it's like it doesn't have the excuse of being old, but man, almost to a man, like any Mormon person you meet is a very nice, genuine person.
Yeah.
So they did something right.
True.
outside of how they treated African Americans up until like 76.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast, and I can get into that too. But one of the reasons why I went to school, so I went to Brigham Young University, which is a Mormon school. I got it. My grades were not good enough, but there was, they needed to diversify their student populace. So so I got in through some sort of affirmative action clause.
Awesome.
Yeah, so they have a public relations program that was pretty tops, man. They at the time, BYU was considered like the Harvard of the West.
Okay.
I mean, again, their public relations program is tops. I mean, they were able to, the religion was able to convince, the masses that this cult is was this bona fide religion.
Yeah. Total success.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that was a really good education. It was outside of the having to take mandatory religious courses, but the scene there was a lot different than Oxnard, and just being in that state it just wasn't for me. So I came back for the summertime, and there was still nothing happening in the 805 at the time, at least all ages wise. There might have been parties here and there, but nothing on the regular. And so I just made it a goal to like try to find a spot. So I just hop in my car. I had a Fiat 131, which was a struggle to get out of the driveway.
Okay.
And I would drive all around Oxnard trying to find a spot. I went to every like cafe, every bar, every hall, every video store, like just whoever would let us like do a show. And at this point, I'm somewhat coherent. I'm a college kid, and I'm 18 years old, and 19 years old. I can put a sentence together and maybe sound believable. And I found a spot on Oxnard Boulevard called El Tapatio.
Okay.
And Oxnard Boulevard and 4th, I believe, Street.
Okay.
And I was able to talk to the owner there into letting us put on a alternative rock dance.
Awesome. That's how you proposed it. An alternative rock dance.
Exactly.
Great.
Yeah. And we did door deals. How about, I'll give you 40% of the door, we'll charge $6. Actually, it ended up being $6.50, which is totally ridiculous to me to even have
Wants to go get a sack of change.
Totally. We had to have quarters. And then so we used the aggression connection from Habeas Corpus and the Nard, and to get them to play the first show.
And this is what year?
This is 89.
Okay.
Yeah, July 89.
Okay.
And then there wasn't very many active bands at that point.
Okay.
And from the old guard. And so we decided, okay, we'll just get Habeas back together and we'll play.
Awesome. Yeah.
So Habeas played second.
Okay.
And then Jim Calhoun had another band called Society's Results.
Okay.
And we called Jim, hey, dude, do you guys want to open the show? And he's all, yeah, let me get back to you. And then, God, this totally kills me because Jawbreaker is so near and dear to my heart. And Jawbreaker had their demo out at the time, and Adam somehow got hold of my number from Maximum Rock and Roll because I already had a listing in the Book Your Own Fucking Life thing. Okay. And he called and said, hey, we'd love to play that aggression show that you're doing, and I'm all, yeah, it would be great. But we got Society's Results to play. It's like Jim Calhoun from Ill Repute. They're going to be a huge draw. It's like, So, dude, you guys can play like the second show. Yeah. But, so yeah.
But respect for doing a 3-band show. That's all I want to see.
Yeah, yeah.
That rules. So you had the right idea from the beginning.
But dude, I had no idea what we were doing. And I'm still learning every day to this day.
Sure.
But at that point, we were just, we weren't prepared for one, the lack of response. I mean, it was the show did like 80 paid or something.
Okay, well, was Aggression living in Colorado at the time, or were they back, or do you remember?
They were on the cusp of moving.
Okay, yeah. They were just getting ready to move.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so it does like 80. So this
Mike Minnick was our drummer in Habeas Corpus after James Riviere passed away, and he ended up playing in Aggression after. So
cool.
He replaced John Mitchell,
who
played in 86, 87, 88 or so, I guess.
Toss that into the timeline.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so the show was
about 80 people in a cap. What's the cap there, you think?
I don't know, about 350 or something.
You do 350 at that place? Holy shit.
I mean, maybe legally it's probably 150.
Okay.
But no show even
Yeah, so
flirted with 200 at that time.
no, but this is painting a nice picture because 89. I mean, to do 80 people, it's like the scene is at a down. It is a downtime, right?
Yeah, but think about it. Like just 2 years prior, Aggression would do like 900, 800 people at the Skate Palace or at the community center.
I know, that's insane.
So it was a big.
It's insane.
Yeah, the downward cycle already.
Everyone's waiting for Joe Rivas to write a demo, and then the scene can come back. So, what's the second show you put on?
The second show was NoFX, Bad Samaritans.
And this is the same place.
The same place.
And what does that show do?
Smaller, I think 40 something.
Holy cow!
And then we had Jawbreaker. Ended up doing the third show.
Okay.
We had The Offspring, Bulimia Banquet, Admiral. God, there's so many. Like, we had a really good run there.
Yeah.
Like a really good run. And then,
and does this does it get any traction? Like, do you start drawing up to 150? I mean, I'm 9 years old, so don't blame me for not being there.
There was a lot of kind of like, there were some bands that were kind of like not dabbling, like gone full bore, like Chili Peppers, like Jane's Addiction mode, you know? And so those bands were kind of drawing a bit. Like there was a band called Clyde from Camarillo that did all right. That would kind of pack the room. Tripmaster Monkey had a little bit of a following too.
And you're booking these bands as well.
Yeah.
Are you booking them with punk bands, or are you booking this like a separate night?
No, they're the same. I mean, all the shows had the same lineup.
Yeah.
And then we did Ill Repute's first show back after kind of like that transition area. So that was really well attended. John was singing, and
awesome.
That was really cool.
And how were they?
How were the shows, or how was?
No, how was Ill Repute?
They were a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah, they were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so you're getting a lot of people like coming back into the scene again, and there's a couple of new kids, like younger people that are finding out about it and coming out. So those seeds were starting to get planted.
Sure.
Again.
Yeah.
It still wasn't as fruitful as it was like 6 or 7 years prior, but we were on the right path at least.
Okay.
And then there was like a big fight at a show, and the cops came, and people got arrested, and there was actual like a standoff like in El Tabatillo where the kids were on one side and the cops came in on the other.
Oh, Jesus.
And and I remember specifically going, "Holy shit, this is totally going down. This feels like L.A. in '82 or '81 or something." A couple people got arrested, and I got in the paper and in the Press Courier, and I think the Oxnard or the Ventura exam. I don't remember the name of the paper there.
Okay.
So I got a little bit of negative press, and then the guy just decided to shut it down.
That's the end of that.
Yeah.
So how do you approach finding the next spot? Same thing, just get back to plugging?
So at that point, I moved to Orange County.
Okay.
I transferred from BYU to Orange County because I ended up getting at that time, Cal State Fullerton was like a music industry assembly line.
Okay.
Like everybody that worked for their associate students entertainment ended up moving on and doing other things in the music business.
Because in your head at this point, you're thinking you want to do what?
Something in music.
Yeah,
like
just something in music. So let me get the resume
absolutely.
for it. But you weren't thinking about being a full entrepreneur yet.
No, it just had to be something in music. I mean, Zach, I was reading like every trade magazine. I was doing internships. I was working for independent promoters. I was working for corporate promoters. I was trying to apply at record stores and just anything. I mean, I actually worked at Record Tech in Camarillo. I was the quality control guy over there, like making sure all the test pressings, like QCing all of those before they actually hit the assembly line.
Oh, crazy.
So anything that had anything to do with music, I was so fucking obsessed, dude. Like it was, I would live, eat, breathe, and shit music.
Okay, so 91-ish, you're at Cal State Fullerton?
Exactly. So I started in 91.
Okay.
I applied I was still in Utah, and I applied for the entertainment director position at Cal State Fullerton.
Oh.
And I already moved everything, assuming that I was going to get that position. I was so confident I was going to get it that.
Yeah. And what does that job entail?
They give you $150,000 budget, which is obscene for that time.
Okay.
And you book shows for the campus.
Oh, okay. So you're bringing all the shows to the campus.
Right.
So cool.
Yeah, dude. So basically, I was on scholarship to book shows.
Yeah, and you got the job.
I got the job, yeah. Okay. And then, so I'm doing that, and I'm doing Numbskull on the side. Mm-hmm. And
where is Numbskull promoting at this point? Same, like, Ventura, and are you doing SLO yet?
No, that wasn't until later.
Okay. So you're doing Ventura County. So you're doing the college where you're living, and then you're doing Numbskull on the side in Ventura County.
Exactly, yeah. And just driving up.
Sure.
Like places like El Fiesta and things of that nature. And then also Club Soda on Main Street in Ventura.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I had a budget to book shows. So that was a lot of fun. We did like Sublime, No Doubt, Rage Against the Machine, Goo Goo Dolls, like all that like kind of early 90s stuff before it
before it broke.
Yeah, so that was really fun, really neat. And then after that, after I graduated, I stayed down there and did shows all around Orange County at a place called the Ice House and a place called Orange Curtain, just whatever halls or clubs we could convince someone to let us do shows at.
Yeah, and that plus like the Fullerton gig is like beefed up your Rolodex.
Yeah.
And beefed up your reputation that you can handle doing shows
right
that are bigger, right? Because what would have been the largest show you put on at Fullerton? Because the Goo Goo Dolls were already big, right?
Sorta. I mean, they were, and mind you, these were all free shows. So you could like we did Teenage Fan Club or the Muffs or TSOL, Joe Wood TSOL, like Cadillac Tramps. Like these were all big Orange County, no doubt. So they were free, and people would just come from everywhere. Like there'd be thousands there.
Holy cow!
And on top of like the student population.
Yeah.
So when Rage played, there actually wasn't a whole lot of people there.
Oh, it was that early?
Yeah, super early.
Yeah, because I remember. Thinking about shows that I've been to on college campuses, the only one I can remember is when NoFX played UCSB.
Yeah, their extravaganza
with Skank and Pickle.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah, you didn't do that though, did you?
No. I had a hand in that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, because
Why?
it was a fun night and everybody got paid, but all the bands got paid handsomely. But they
it was
weren't
a shit show.
Yeah, it was a total shit show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
It was super fun.
But yeah,
it was super fun.
So, what do you do after Fullerton? Or when do you decide to move back? Where do you move to from there?
So I moved back to Camarillo.
Okay.
And then decided I had no other option. Like I either have to like try to get some like 9-to-5 like pencil pushing music industry job,
get a job or start hustling.
Yeah. So I started delivering pizza at Speedy's Pizza in Camarillo.
Okay.
And then saved up all the money because now I'm on my own. It's not like having this college budget.
Sure.
Like now we're talking real money. We're talking real trips to the ATM when shit goes wrong. Mm-hmm. And so I saved up a little bit of money and tried to find some new spots.
Okay.
And at this point, like no one in their right mind thought punk rock could be a career.
Sure.
Okay. And for whatever reason, when Nirvana hit, and then next thing you know, Green Day hits, and then Offspring hit.
Yeah.
And these are relationships that you already formed with bands, when they were at their fetal stages. Like, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, no one could fathom that this was coming.
Because before Nirvana, you do have like a Bad Religion, which is popular, right? That comes back. But what are they doing? Like, what are they drawing at like the country club in 1991?
Yeah, they're selling out multiple nights country club.
So what's the cap there?
900.
Okay. So it's big, but underground big.
Right.
Nothing breaking through. And they're the biggest band?
Well, they're one of the ones that kind of stuck to their guns outside of that little experimental record they did, Into the Unknown, whatever.
Sure. But who's the biggest punk band in 91?
In 91, it's probably Bad Religion. Like internationally, it's Bad Religion.
Yeah, before Nirvana breaks.
Yeah, before Nirvana breaks.
Okay.
Maybe Sonic Youth, too.
Yeah, if you want to consider them.
Yeah.
Okay. And then everything breaks wide open, 94-ish. And you have all these relationships, and you're able to start doing more successful shows?
Yeah, so that's what was really cool. So a lot of the artists that we established relationships with at their fetal stage, like I said, they kind of brought us up with them. And honored that history and stayed loyal, and we'd take them to the next step. We'd be doing them at Ventura Theater or doing them at some larger hall. NoFX was also big at this time. They were starting to explode, and we did one of the biggest shows we did in the early 90s was We rented out UC Irvine and had No Effects, DI, the Muffs, Face to Face, and Wax, and there was like 3,500 people there. It was
Holy cow.
fucking insane. And that's when we all started thinking, whoa, like even Fat Mike at that point was like, dude, where'd all these people come from?
Yeah.
And we're just looking at each other. And dude, not even a year before, we're at El Fiesta on Oxnard Boulevard.
Sure.
With 150 people.
Sure.
So everything started happening so fast, and then Tony Hawk starts the Tony Hawk game comes out, and they start adding all these punk soundtrack, and then it fucking just multiplied.
Yeah, and then it
became monster.
Yeah, and becomes a part of like the fabric of life where it's normal.
Absolutely.
You know?
And then the Warped Tour.
Yeah.
And then radio's all about it. And, and then it's just crazy. Now we're just like, wow.
Yeah.
This is for reals. Like people are actually paying real money and banking on you to come see to pull it off. Like
yeah. So stepping back, you booked the Ill Repute tour after Big Rusty Balls. Is that the one you did?
It was the Big Rusty Balls tour.
Didn't they do two? But didn't they do two different legs?
Yeah, we did. I booked both of them.
You broke them up.
Yeah.
This is such a brilliant move. I don't know why I never thought about doing it like that. Doing 2 weeks and then 2 weeks instead of doing like 5 weeks and hating yourself.
Yeah, because after
a pretty good move.
I mean, the honeymoon period, as you know, is like 2.5 weeks on tour.
Sure.
Before you start punching each other, and yeah, I don't know why no one ever thought about that. They just fucking went for it and did like 6 to 8 weeks on the road, and it's just, are you kidding me? Like, think about that now.
Yeah.
This is like pre-buses and
yeah. So you hadn't booked a tour before though, right? This is the first.
So gosh, I should rewind a little bit. Whoa,
Okay.
Hey.
Let's rewind.
Sorry, I dropped the mic for a second. So concurrently while we were doing shows, I started dabbling in tour booking and artist representation. So I was booking some show like full U.S. tours for Repute did one, or a couple, I should say. And so Numbskull was a bit of a booking agency. So we booked tours for like No Use for a Name, Lagwagon, Repute, Good Riddance, Schlep Rock, even Big Bad Voodoo Daddy at one point, Del Rubio Triplets, Naked Soul, Screw 32. Yeah, it was a fun little roster, like up and coming, like kind of Fat and Epitaph heavy, but mixed up with some kind of.
And then the little adjacents.
Yeah. And then, so when the explosion hit, I couldn't handle all these bands.
Yeah.
And they started steering them to like real booking agents.
Okay.
I mean, at this point, I'm just like, it's me and a couple people that help out. I mean, we have a great crew at the shows and everything, but as far as the booking tour thing, that was all me. And this is pre-internet.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. So are you just using Book Your Own Fucking Life?
Yeah, I had itineraries too from other tours.
So a band would come back and you'd ask, can I have your itinerary? So I get all your contacts.
So I had contacts that. But I mean, you had to physically book the show.
Sure.
And so I'd have to get on the phone and like do deals and work that out. And then we do contracts through the fax machine.
Okay.
So to get this fucking roll of rice paper coming through that deteriorates before you even rip it off.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. Or it's like the carbon paper that scratches and you don't even know what the deal was.
Yeah. What's an example like of like No Use for Names, like guarantee at that point? Like if they're playing St. Louis, Missouri on a Wednesday night. Yeah,
that's like a $500 versus 40% on the door type deal.
Yeah. It's interesting to me, that stuff.
Yeah. But we can talk more about that later.
No, for sure. Yeah. We don't need to put everyone's business out there, but I just want everyone to succeed. Totally. I mean, well, we talk now because some of my favorite bands are like the Madballs and the Gnostic Fronts, and San Diego is like a second tier or a third tier city, depending on how you look at it. Like we don't get the Friday or the Saturday night,
right?
And I feel so fortunate. Like those are two of the bands they never skip San Diego. I feel like on every tour, and it's like I don't care how much I have to pay. I just want them to keep coming back.
Yeah,
you know. And so
that's important.
Yeah, but anyway. I digress. So you actually get back into doing another band around 94-ish, 93, 94, and join Missing 23rd? Or do you start Missing 23rd?
Well, in 94, like John C. and Woody, and like we had a little bit of a crew going, and like they were helping out Numbskull shows, which was really cool. And then they had the idea to start a band.
Okay.
And then they asked me if I wanted to play bass. At this point, like Habeas and the old Nard days are so near and dear to me, Zach, that like I told you, like when I brought that photo album over earlier and I was just thumbing through it today, like my eyes started to water. Like that is such a special time, my formative years. And I wanted to like close that chapter and have it end on a really good note and just retire the bass, you know?
Sure.
But I love, John C. and Woody and, and they had a great idea of like, hey, we want to, harken back to the days of early DC hardcore and then throw in a splash of like OG Nard. And that's where you come in.
Yeah.
And so like, all right, let's do it. So we jammed and this is in July of probably spring of 95.
Okay.
And we played for a minute before we, like just practicing, like in this little shed in El Rio for a while before our first show was at Horseshack's.
Yeah, and it was the
With Youth
10-foot
Brigade.
pole.
Yeah.
10-foot pole youth brigade. Yeah.
It was a little more calculated. Like we definitely, from my vantage point, we had a vision and we wanted kids to know the song. So we recorded and then put those demos out.
Yeah.
That demo was out before we even played a show.
Yeah.
So when we played the show, kids actually knew the song. But that was really cool, man. Like I love Missing 23rd so much. Like I felt really invigorated, and
You guys came out and it was a fully formed band. Like you were ready to go, and one of the best bands of the time.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you're smart. You know how to like make it work from a promoting standpoint. So you put yourself on a good show, and it's like right out the gate, it's like you're almost a headlining band, right?
Yeah, it was cool. We were very fortunate that it worked out that way. But more often than not, it was like at this point, like I was talking about earlier, like we as a Numbskull are forming relationships with all these bands, and then they never got to see Habeas or got to witness that, and they're like, "Oh fuck, dude, Eddie's in a band. Dude, we have to see this."
Yeah,
So they're reaching out and asking, and then it makes it look like that Numbskull put M23 on all these shows, but in reality, it's the headliner that books the lineup.
Well, I always thought that was kind of funny too when John would bring that up, like that there was jealousy of Missy Twitter being on all these shows. Like, well, why wouldn't they be? Like, I mean, at least they're, from an objective standpoint, they're top 3 band of the area. So if you're going to put someone in, like, why not them? Plus, of course, people want to play with you. They're friends with you. Hey, Eddie, put your band on the show. I want to see your band.
Yeah,
It's such a no-brainer. But, this is a youth movement, youth scene. You can't expect everyone's thoughts to be so well thought out.
True.
Do you start playing? Okay, so at this point, Numbskull, you've widened your circuit to at least slow, right?
Yeah, so we were doing Orange County, Ventura County,
Okay,
Santa Barbara County,
okay,
San Luis Obispo County,
and then you do some of the desert stuff too,
and
right?
Santa Cruz.
And then don't you go and you do some desert like Lancaster, or is that later?
So we started doing Lancaster and Victorville and Palmdale a little bit later.
Okay.
I would say probably 97, 98 is when
Okay,
we started dipping into that area.
okay. And so, Missing 23rd, you start playing this whole circuit.
Yeah, and I had the time of my life with that band.
Okay,
It was a lot of fun.
it wasn't too much doing both. Like
It became too much.
it became too
definitely
much.
did.
But the first year is all fun.
First year's really fun. The second year, and you mentioned earlier, youth movement, people just struggling to grasp the relationship portion of it, and
Sure.
there was some clapback, and it kind of got on the other guys about it. I know they were more in the trenches with some of that.
So they're a little more sensitive to people criticizing that Missing 23rd is on all these great Numbskull shows.
Exactly.
I mean, you have to understand, it's just, in hindsight, this does sound like the dumbest thing ever, right?
Right.
Like people being jealous. Why would I put my band on these awesome shows? Like, I don't know. It's just something people do. Like, okay, for instance, on Thursday night, or just recently, Terra played Ventura, and of course the promoter put his band on the Terra show. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
It's like you're doing all the work, you're taking all this risk on booking the show. Like, you get reward from like, giving to the scene and stuff. But if you're in a band, you want to be on the good show. Like,
True.
I could never. I don't understand how anyone would fault him for that. Plus, I mean, he made his band open, you know, so it's like, that seems like a righteous move to me.
That's perfectly fine.
You know?
But like I said earlier,
But yeah, if they're sensitive to it.
For the most part, though, like we weren't angling for it.
Sure.
Like it was the headliner, like more or less, like
Yeah.
you know,
Says,
like
"I wanna
Bouncing
see what
Souls, dude. We want M23 to play. I want to see what you're all about. You know.
Yeah.
What am I going to tell those? They're homies. I can't tell them no.
Right, and it's not just you; it's all the guys helping out with your promotion, so they know each of you to a man. You're in a band together. It's like, well, I want to see my friends John and Woody and Eddie play in a band.
Exactly. Yeah. And
well, plus you guys ripped. They were probably also fucking fans. You know what I mean? It wasn't just the novelty of seeing you guys.
Maybe.
Like, yeah, or eventually would be fans.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You would hope, or they pretended to be fans.
Yeah,
But
I want to do one other little like side story because I think that like a lot of the people in this area, one of our favorite bands ever is Good Riddance, and you did such a good job of like curating that band. Well, I mean, from my perspective, like you brought them down here earlier before my time, you know, because you brought them down off what either the Gidget 7-inch or even maybe the demos,
right.
Yeah, so you brought them down really early. Did they play not Tropical, the place you were speaking of on the boulevard?
Oh, Casa Tropical.
Yeah.
No, that was earlier.
Okay.
Casa Tropical was early '80s.
My bad.
El Fiesta.
El Fiesta, sorry.
No, they did not play.
They didn't play there. So when was the first time you brought them down?
They played at El Fiesta,
Okay.
which was the second spot that we found after El Tabatillo. Which I would say
hard to keep from not going to these places. It's hard to keep all the names together when it's El Fiesta and El Tabatillo. But yeah, so you bring them down in what year? You think?
I want to say it's 91, maybe.
Okay. And did you like?
Maybe 92.
Did you have a special connection to them, or you could tell they were like a special band?
I mean, honestly, it was from the Santa Cruz thing because we started dabbling in Santa Cruz, and then Fat Mike was the one that kind of turned me on to them.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, there's this band that I'm thinking about signing them from Santa Cruz, and then I heard the demo and like, oh shit, saw something there.
Yeah, and it just seemed like they played down here so much, like they were almost like a Nardcore band.
Yeah, that was a little bit of, I mean, yeah, I definitely was trying to push them.
Yeah, I mean, we loved it. They were like, I mean, they're almost everyone's one of their favorite bands. So
yeah, that's good. Thanks.
Yeah, and still, I went and saw them a month or two ago, and they're still awesome.
Yeah, they those guys, they have no quit. They're fully legit, and the songs. I mean, just everything about them, top to bottom, even as people on stage, off.
Yeah, it's authentic, right? So when you're authentic, things are timeless. You know, authenticity is timeless. So.
Yeah, and they also are huge Nardcore fans as well.
Sure,
they understand the history. They get it.
Well, Santa Cruz can be very similar to like if you mesh Wainimi and Silver Strand together.
Oh, yeah, you know? Yeah.
So, but yeah.
And Blast also came down a lot too, and Habeas played a lot with Blast when they came down. So there was already a connection with the whole Santa Cruz thing that was already that started early.
Yeah, very cool. So with Miss New 23rd, do you play up to the LP? You don't play on the LP.
No.
You leave right before that?
Right before that.
Okay.
There's a couple songs that I wrote that ended up being on that.
Okay.
So I was unceremoniously exited. Like,
oh, you were?
Yeah. I was.
You were booted.
I was booted. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Okay. It was. And I got it. I understood where they were coming from. What
was the reasoning?
Kind of what we were talking about before. Like, I think there was a little bit of sensitivity to the scene kind of clapping back.
Okay.
And granted, I mean, they're 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old kids at this point.
Sure.
You can't expect anybody at any age, especially that age, to grasp.
To be so thick-skinned.
Yeah. And then, to be honest with you, full transparency here, I'm not the best bass player in the world. You know, my bass idols are like Doyle and Big Bob.
Yeah.
Not exactly Jaco Pastorius is here.
Sure.
So, and they're my idols. And I was the one-string master.
Yeah. Yeah. So you think that they wanted to be more technical as well?
I'm
not
sure.
Not till the second LP. Come on, the first LP is still pretty stripped down. So yeah.
So that had something to do with it. But
okay.
But we were still homies. It was just.
But you had. I mean, it had to hurt a little.
Oh yeah, I was crying.
Okay.
When it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was bummed. I mean, like I said, I loved Habeas to no end. I love Missing 23rd to no end. Really special band to me, and they still are.
Yeah.
Always will be.
No, they're awesome.
But 6 months later, I was back in the band. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah. You came back.
Yeah, I came back.
And then you finally got to quit on them, and then the
Yeah,
score was even.
And at that point, Numbskull was just the time didn't allow it. The show, I was getting really busy with shows, and it wasn't fair to them for me to keep, splitting my time.
And you've never had the itch or done a band since? Do you have the itch all the time, and you just are like, I can't commit the time to it?
I do. I do want to play again. But again, like I said, I'm not the best bass player in the world.
Not everyone needs, the dude from Rancid.
Oh, shit. I know. Matt Freeman is God. Yeah, I think about it. I just, time permitting, and I mean, I've actually put my bass in storage, and that chapter's done. I let someone else have a crack at it. I was fortunate enough to be in 2 bands. I'm really fucking lucky, man.
Yeah, and put out records.
Yeah, and tour.
Yeah, it's very cool. So let's talk a little bit wide lens on Numbskull now, because you were saying 31 years now. What did you say?
Jesus.
So this is 31 years.
It just sounds so.
I know. So I think that this is the time to dick wave a little bit. So let's drop some of the stats like that. So we got 31 years. You're saying over 6,000 shows booked.
Yeah, I don't know the exact number.
Okay,
but eyeballing
you stopped counting at 5,000.
Yeah, we stopped around 5. But
okay,
but eyeballing it, I think we're in the 6s.
Okay,
and if you count also tours that I booked,
then you're way.
Then it's a lot. It's astronomical.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy to me, man. I can't believe. I'm wearing right now. This week we did a run with TSOL, and it's their 40th anniversary tour.
So about 6 weeks ago. No, I stacked these.
Oh yeah. And yeah, man, I just can't believe that was 40 years ago when that EP came out.
Yeah, because you remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to think that Numbskull has been around for 31 fucking years, I really, I'm speechless.
Yeah.
I can't believe that this is still fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so fortunate, Zach, to be around music and art every night.
Yeah.
I would do this job for free, dude.
Yeah.
I love it so much. I've gotten to meet every hero, gotten to work with every hero. I mean, there's a pinch me moment that happens every week. Even with this TSOL run, it's holy shit, dude. I'm kicking it with Ron Emery and
I know, it's crazy.
And Jack Grissom. It's what? These are.
Don't forget Dave Dictator.
Yeah. NBC too. Yeah. Absolutely. It's just. It's a dream come true. I know it's cliche, but it's just.
Yeah.
I really can't believe it.
Yeah, and you have a staff of about how many people that help you out, or volunteers?
We have crew in every city that we're active in.
Yeah.
And there's people that oversee a certain aspect. John Scheimer will handle advancing all the production. And we have local reps in each market that will just kind of oversee the shows in that particular part of town.
Yeah.
We roll pretty deep. There's a lot of numbskulls, man.
And then do you do a celebration once a year?
Punk Rock Bowling is our kind of family reunion. So we get together, and that's the weekend that we try not to think about Numbskull shows and just kind of bro down and catch up.
Because it's one weekend that you don't book that weekend.
No, we do. So some people have to bite the bullet and stay home. I might be the one this year to have to stay home because there's a lot.
Well, then who's going to do the toast if you're not there?
I don't know. I mean, Numbskull's always been a we thing and not a me thing.
Yeah.
So there's our crew is. I love them to death, and everyone's capable of taking care of shit at any time.
So the crew, though, you get together every year, and you get together and say good job and stoked and have a little party. And
yeah, well, we bowl, and
we
have a party, and we do have a team dinner at this bomb-ass vegan restaurant in Chicago, in Chinatown in Vegas.
Cool.
And I can't believe I said bomb-ass. That
Dude.
term has been retired.
There are things we want to work. I was at this spot recently in the pool, and or actually in this jacuzzi, and this bunch of older folks talking, and someone brought up something, and a guy was like, yeah, it was premium. And I was
my God.
like, dude, that phrase is awesome. And I've been trying to work it into my vocabulary ever since. Remember to say premium, because I always say, oh, the rules. I want to say.
But even rules is kind of throwback, though.
The rules is a little throwback, but I say it all the time. I just want to, half the time I want to say that rules, and half the time I want to say, it's fucking premium.
Yeah, you should just replace sick with premium.
Yes. If I could get sick out of my vocabulary, that'd be great. But that guy, he was like just some 70-year-old guy, and he was so cool, and just for him to describe something as like, it was premium. I was like, that's great. So bomb ass, pretty cool too.
Take it back.
Yeah, I mean, that restaurant would be stoked that you feel like that, So, Eddie, is there anything else you feel like we didn't touch on?
Gosh, there's a lot. Not that you didn't touch on. It's just I feel like there's so many airs and shows, and it's just super overwhelming. When I was going through trying to prep for this pod, like it was so daunting, man. Like even just getting past like the early Nard Habeas thing was like, wow. In fact, I didn't even get past that. I spent an hour I just got in the OG Nard rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I was finding flyers and
Well, one thing I think we forgot to get to was, did you go on tour with Aggression?
Yeah, we did.
Okay,
yeah.
So we should talk about that. So Habeas did a full U.S. tour?
We didn't do the whole.
So we fully missed this though. Okay, so did Aggression do the full U.S.?
They did.
Okay, and this would have been what year?
This was 86, summer of 86.
Okay, 86. So do you remember how many U.S. tours they did? Because Bob said they went every year. So the first year they would have gone would have been 83, and that would have been like the
BYO
like the bus tour.
Yeah.
So they did half. And then, so yeah, if they would have done an 84. So do you think it was like their third tour? Do you feel like they had done a bunch?
There was a lot of Weekend Warrior stuff going on with them, and we went with a lot. We were lucky enough for them to bring us along.
To bring you.
Yeah.
That was another thing that I was interested in that you can elaborate on maybe a little bit too is Ill Repute. They would talk, and Aggression as well. They talk about like doing a circuit, like just going out and doing like Arizona and like New Mexico and coming back.
Absolutely. So they would just do like a run of like Reno, Vegas, New Mexico.
Yeah.
And then just come back.
Arizona. Were those areas like hot at that time? Because like that circuit died. Because, in my time of like playing in bands and touring, you're doing the West Coast. You would just do the West, right? And that's kind of what everyone does now. You wouldn't do that. That's kind of a weird circuit.
Yeah, it was a bit odd.
Mm-hmm. But it made sense at the time.
The shows were so well attended. Like Zach, we did Vegas several times with Aggression, and there'd be 700-800 people at most of these, and it was just like, holy shit. I remember one show that we played at with, in fact, James Ribiot, because we were all in high school, we were just kids, and he couldn't do the show, and Gabe from AFU actually ended up doing the show with us, and we played at a place called Mama's, I think.
Okay.
And in Vegas. And it was massive, dude. There's a line around the block, and I don't know if it's
Vegas makes more sense than like going all the way out to like New Mexico.
Yeah, true. But New Mexico were some of the best shows.
Same too.
Yeah, we played the Rec Club there several times. We played there with Aggression, and that could have been very well the best show of the tour.
So cool.
Yeah,
cool.
It was really odd that the pockets in the Southwest that were really hot for them.
Yeah, because if that circuit still worked, it would be so awesome for people. Because it's pretty. I mean, there's nothing like being on tour and like seeing like the sunset over like that desert horizon.
Gorgeous, it's breathtaking.
And obviously anyone can get out there and do a weekend trip and experience that. But it is something like those moments of tranquility on the road.
No, that's right.
Is that right? Okay.
Serenity?
Serenity on the road where it's like, there's so much noise and bustle and you're around too many dudes and like this and that. And then it's like the sunset in the desert where you just feel like, oh, it was all worth it. It's not like the show. It's like the fact that you're out there and like something as psycho as playing like hardcore and punk rock is like put you in the situation to watch the sunset in the desert. And you're like, what a weird thing this music is, that it's satisfying like all these little pieces of like what your psyche needs, Yeah,
absolutely. But I felt like on the Aggression tours, there really wasn't ever a quiet moment.
No, of course not. Do you have any standout stories from those?
Oh man, there's a lot. From Aggression specifically?
Sure.
So those dudes were quite a bit older than us, and they were such looming figures. Like I felt like we could, and that they always had our back. They kind of called us, they rebranded us Habeas Babies.
Okay.
And so like we were the kids of the scene. And so we felt like we were untouchable because like if anything would go down, like the Gresham dudes were there.
Yeah.
So being the little shit kids that we are, we would, kind of instigate things here and there. And we didn't know any better. But we were in Vegas one time on one road trip, and I was in a 7-Eleven with the Habeas guys. And they have slot machines in the 7-Eleven. So I put a quarter in the slot machine, and it hits sevens.
Wow.
And we're 16 at this point.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not old enough to gamble.
Yeah.
Hit sevens, and I mean, for a quarter on sevens, it was probably like $200.
Sure.
Which at the time, in 85 or whatever it was, that's a lot of money.
Especially a teenager.
I mean, that's like a month of Taco Bell on the road. So we were so stoked, high-fiving. I grab a bucket, and I'm like putting all the coin in the bucket. And then the store clerk was kind of this big burly redneck guy. He had like a red flannel that was with the sleeves torn off.
Yeah.
Like full on like 7-Eleven employee you would expect. He comes out and grabs the bucket for me. And I'm all, dude, what are you doing? I just won this shit.
Yeah.
And he's all, no, it's mine. You're not old enough to gamble.
Yeah.
And I'm all, nah, dude. Like, so we're having this little bit of tug of war. As we're having the tug of war, the Gresham guys pull up in their van. Okay. And I see like Mark and Henry and Bob all getting out. And I'm like, okay, dude, you better give the fucking bucket up or you're going to die.
Yeah.
Because it's on now. And they walk in, and I'm all, Mark, this guy, dude, I totally won this. I got sevens, and he won't give me the bucket back, and we have all this money, and we need it.
And he tried to touch me.
No, I didn't do that. That would have been bad. And Mark's all, Ed, how old are you? And I'm all, 16. He's all, how old do you have to be to gamble? 21. He's all, give the guy the bucket. And so I gave the bucket back to the owner, no, the store clerk. And the Gresham guy said, "Yeah, dude, we can't help you here, man. Like that's state law, like, you know." And I'm just like, well, fuck, dude. It's like you guys are breaking every rule on this whole fucking tour, and you're gonna honor this one. Yeah. So it was all good.
Yeah, could have at least haggled for like free nachos, you know.
Yeah.
All right, we're out of here with no problem. But can I get a nacho boat for the road? You know?
Totally.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I think this has been great.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
I hope you feel good about it. And
I'm so stoked you're doing this. Really, it's a godsend.
Yeah, appreciate that. It can be a challenge, but it's a project of love.
Totally.
So
like I was in DC a couple years ago, and I went to hang out with Ian MacKay, and he was totally getting on me about chronicalizing the Nardcore scene, you know, and basically playing historian and basically chronicalizing and cataloging. And this guy, he has like library science aides come in and catalog and organize and punk rock Dewey Decimal System, his entire catalog and data, everything he's been a part of. Yeah. And he was actually giving me shit about not doing it for Oxnard. And then I told him, dude, I'm so busy. I have a kid. I got this Numbskull thing going on, doing a million shows. It's like, it's time permitting. And he's all, fuck you, Eddie. You got to do this. And if you don't do it, nobody else will. You know? Well, and I'm so glad that you are doing this, and whatever help you need, dude, I look no further.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, I want someone else to do the book or the movie, because that's what people tell me. They're like, "Oh, I love the pod. You should do a book." I'm like, "No, I'm doing my part."
Yeah,
because the important thing is to get like the firsthand takes, right? So if we wanted to spend the money, you can dump this shit into a program and get it transcribed, you know, or someone else can transcribe it. But we have the firsthand sources now, and that's what I want before, heaven forbid, we lose more people. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because, you know, zines, they're good for, you know, getting information and stuff, but there's something about getting to hear the way not only people talk, but the way that they interact with people. That is like, you can't describe it. I mean, I'm not good enough with words that I could transcribe an interview and describe how someone's speaking or how they act or like their, I don't know, like their essence or aura, right?
Yeah.
So whatever, we get these firsthand things down and someone can do something with them. I'm not going to hoard them. They're for everyone. You know, you can listen to them for free. You can download them for free, whatever. But it would be nice if someone did some sort of book on
Yeah,
Nardcore.
but this is a step in the right direction. At least these stories are being immortalized.
Right. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. But this is our call. If you're not going to do it and I'm not going to do it, someone step up. Like, that's it.
Hey, I have 3 storage spaces worth of punk rock history.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to take that deep dive, to reach out.
Yeah, I think that's the move, is someone out there with like that brain that works that way, that has like the organizational mentality and then also a little bit of storytelling in them. You know, this could be your project, and there's going to be a lot of interesting people reaching out to help you. So you won't be alone. But I would like to help and not be the person.
Right.
But yeah. So Eddie, you feel like you've been well represented?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And love to have you again, and love to have you on maybe one of the ones where we shoot the shit. That'd be fun.
Yeah, totally.
So cool.
Sounds good.
Thanks so much, bud.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Okay.